Hey everyone, Brandon Lee here with Virtualization Now 2, and today we're diving into something that I think is a huge shift in how we think about DNS high availability in the home lab. Having redundant DNS servers is one of those things that kind of sounds optional until the day DNS goes down and suddenly nothing works. Apps fail, services cannot resolve names, and your entire home lab environment feels broken. And if you've ever run multiple Pi-hole servers with sync tools like Gravity Sync or the more recent Nebula Sync project, you already understand the problem that we're trying to solve. However, recently, Technitium DNS Server introduced native clustering in version 14, and honestly, I think this is a game changer. In this video, I want to walk you through what this new clustering feature is, how it works, how you can set it up, and why it might completely change how we approach DNS HA in the home lab and even small production environments. So let's dive in and get started. So let's start with why home labbers even began syncing something like Pi-hole in the first place. Well, in enterprise environments, running multiple DNS servers is a standard practice. If you have multiple servers, then one server can be rebooted, patched, or even fail altogether, and DNS resolution continues without users ever noticing. At least that is the case in theory. That redundancy is critical because DNS is foundational to everything else. In the home lab, most of us start with one of everything, and that includes a DNS server. I know that's a way I started among other resources. That works fine until it doesn't. You need to reboot your Pi-hole VM or your container Pi-hole instance. You may have a power outage or you may be doing maintenance and suddenly DNS is offline. When DNS goes down, your home lab grinds to a halt, and if you're using some of your home lab resources for your family, they will tell you that immediately as well. Pi-hole has been an extremely popular DNS server and ad blocking tool in the home lab space, and for good reason. Outside of environments running something like Microsoft Windows Active Directory and the DNS solution going with Active Directory, Pi-hole has filled a huge gap in the home lab space. Because Pi-hole does not have native clustering though, the community stepped in with projects like Gravity Sync and later the more recent Nebula Sync. These tools allow you to stand up a second Pi-hole instance and synchronize things like block lists, allow lists, local DNS entries, DHCP reservations, and other configuration items. Now, these projects work well and have allowed home labbers to achieve basic redundancy. However, sync tools are not the same thing as clustering. They copy files and settings after changes happen. There is no shared state or coordinated management. If a sync job fails, the nodes can drift apart. If you make changes on the wrong node, you might possibly overwrite newer data. Troubleshooting also often becomes kind of an exercise and a challenge figuring out which node has the correct configuration or the configuration you want to keep. And for home labs, that trade-off is mostly acceptable. But as your environment starts to grow, it can start to feel fragile. Now, this is where Technitium DNS enters the conversation. And if you've not heard of Technitium DNS Server before, you're in for a treat. You are honestly missing out on a tremendously powerful tool that is absolutely completely free. I have heard it described in a way that seems to resonate with me, that Pi-hole is an ad blocker first and a DNS server second, while Technitium is a DNS server first and an ad blocker second. Now, that distinction matters, I think. Technitium feels like a much more mature enterprise-grade DNS solution that just happens to also do filtering and blocking extremely well. Now, at its core, Technitium DNS Server is a full recursive DNS server with authoritative zone support. It can act as your primary internal DNS, a forwarding resolver, a split horizon DNS server, or many other roles that it can play, or it can have a hybrid configuration of all or others in that configuration. It supports things like advanced filtering, block lists, conditional forwarding, split horizon, and even a plugin style system called DNS apps that lets you extend the functionality without really modifying the core server. And on top of that, it includes features like role-based access control, API-driven management, DNS over HTTPS, DNS over TLS, and things like detailed query logging. And all of this is available without heavy infrastructure requirements or any other challenges or hoops to jump through. And I think this makes it incredibly attractive for home labs. Now, here is the big news with Technitium. Technitium DNS Server in version 14, which was released at the very end of November this year, introduced native clustering. Now, this is something that many of us have wished forever that Pi-hole would have added years back. Instead of copying configuration files between independent servers, Technitium treats multiple DNS servers as members of a single cluster. Now with that, one node does act as the primary DNS resolver, and additional nodes join the cluster as secondaries. Configuration is updated in a central location on that primary server, and it is distributed automatically to all members. So no third-party open source projects to have to rely on. DNS zones, settings, DNS apps, users, policies, all of those things are considered shared data across the cluster. Now, what makes this especially appealing, I think, is that it is not a file sync process. It's a true cluster-aware system. You make a change once, and that change propagates to the other nodes automatically. You don't have to wait for a cron job or other sync schedules. There's a single source of truth and a single management interface. And I love community sync tools, don't get me wrong, but reducing complexity by having this type of functionality built directly into the DNS server is a huge win. And I think all of us, if we had our choice, would rather have that functionality natively in our DNS server. How does Technitium DNS clustering actually work? Well, let's go over this at a high level. Underneath the hood, clustering uses a catalog zone to manage cluster configuration. So when clustering is enabled, the primary server maintains the authoritative cluster data and pushes those updates to secondary nodes. Communication between the nodes is encrypted using TLS with support for DANE-based certificate validation. Even in a home lab, cluster traffic is authenticated and secure. So reasonably speaking, this allows you to configure DNS zones once, manage block lists and policies in one place, install DNS apps one time, and all nodes stay in sync with one another. Even if the primary node goes offline, secondary nodes continue serving DNS. Clients can simply be configured with multiple DNS server IP addresses, which you may be doing that with your Pi-hole servers as we speak today. And then every server behaves identically based on that clustering configuration. Now, when you compare this approach to Pi-hole sync tools, the difference becomes very clear. With those sync tools, changes are copied after they happen. So each node maintains its own configuration, and failures of that synchronization process can potentially introduce drift that must be resolved manually. So with this Technitium clustering, changes are coordinated in real time, configuration is centralized, conflicts are avoided by default, and the system is built to scale as you add more features and nodes. Advanced DNS features actually become practical instead of kind of risky and a feeling of being piecemeal put together. So let's talk about installing Technitium DNS Server so you can try this out yourself. I have a full walkthrough on running Technitium in Docker, but I want to give you a quick overview here. Using Docker Compose is one of the easiest ways to get started, of course, running this in a container. So you're going to need 2 containers across 2 different Docker hosts, and that allows you to have the redundancy that probably you're doing today with Pi-hole. You define a service using the Technitium DNS Server image, expose DNS ports on 53, for both TCP and UDP, and it has a special web console port that you expose 5380, and then importantly another port 53443 for HTTPS, and this is the port it uses for cluster communication. Now you can map persistent storage to etc DNS directory and bring the container online with a simple Docker Compose up. So once a container is running, you can access the web interface and complete the initial setup of the Technitium DNS server, not only on the primary node, but also in the secondary node. And part of that process is simply changing your admin password and getting into the web interface and starting to configure your cluster. Now, to build the cluster, you're going to need at least 2 Technitium instances running on different hosts or VMs. And that's because both of those instances are going to expose ports 53 as well as the management ports that Technitium needs by default. So you don't want those to overlap or conflict. So you want to spread those out. And for redundancy anyway, that's the right way to run it. You're going to bring up that first instance, then the second instance in the same way, log into both, make sure you change that default admin password. Now, one important detail I ran into is the DNS server name. On a fresh install, the server name might not be what you want it to be. So I found that underneath settings and general and then the DNS server domain, I made sure that each of my servers had the unique name that I wanted them to be configured with. For example, on the first primary Technitium DNS server, I just use DNS1 and DNS2 for the secondary server. Now this name becomes part of how the cluster identifies nodes, so it's worth setting those correctly up front to save yourself some pain later. We're going to use the URLs that are created based on those names as part of our cluster configuration. Now to create the cluster, you start on the node you want to be the primary, navigate to Administration, Cluster, Initialize, and choose New Cluster. Once you do that, you're going to be prompted for a cluster domain and the primary node IP addresses. Once initialized, the cluster is created and the primary node is registered. You'll also see this internal URL that we just described used for synchronization. Now on the second node, you navigate to the same place, Administration, Cluster, Initialize, and choose Join Cluster this time. You provide the secondary node IP address and the primary node URL that we grabbed from the first installation. If you're not using proper certificates yet, you'll need to check the option to ignore certificate validation, as it will by default try to validate those certificates. Now once you join, the nodes connect and you can see that each node recognizes the other as connected and reachable. Now what really impressed me after I got both of the nodes up and running in Docker containers was just how fast and reliable the replication was. To test this, I did a few simple things. First of all, I added a new DNS zone on the primary server and called that test.local. Almost immediately, that zone appeared on the secondary server without any manual action. Just what I would expect and hope to have. The same thing happened with DNS applications. I installed the Split Horizon app on the primary server. As quick as I could flip over to the browser tab of the secondary server, the app was already installed. That is awesome. Now, this is exactly how clustering should feel. You make a change once and it shows up everywhere almost immediately. That's what we want to see, especially with something as important as DNS resolution, settings, and configuration. Now, there are a few limitations worth mentioning. Replication with this model is one way, so meaning changes must be made on the primary node if you want to see those fanned out across the environment. Now, to test this, I created a zone on the secondary server just to see if it might by chance synchronize to the primary. It did not. So that synchronization is one way from primary to all of your secondary nodes. But that said, even if your primary goes offline, secondary nodes continue serving DNS, and that's really what matters in a failure scenario or a maintenance period, rebooting or installing the latest container image. And in the worst case scenario, you could even rebuild the cluster. And that sounds drastic, but it's really a simple process on your secondary. You just simply leave the cluster and then you're able to join or create a new cluster. So you could essentially create a new cluster with all the settings of that now primary server that has all of your previous config, and then adding your secondary server in there. Now, wrapping this up, I'm genuinely excited about what Technitium has done here. Native clustering without third-party scripts, near real-time synchronization, and a true single source of truth, I think is a huge step forward for DNS in the home lab or small business environment, or even enterprise production environments if you want to take Technitium for a spin. Now, if you're currently using Pi-hole sync tools, they are still valid, useful, and I am certainly grateful to all the work that has gone into those projects and that they currently are very active and exist. But from a pure DNS capabilities perspective, I've always felt like Technitium was the stronger solution when compared to Pi-hole. And this new clustering feature really seals the deal for me. I'm curious though, what do you think? Are you running Pi-hole currently and the sync tools that we mentioned, either Gravity Sync or Nebula Sync, or have you tried Technitium? And if you haven't tried Technitium, are you going to try it? And specifically, what about this new clustering feature? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching Virtualization How To. Please do like and subscribe for more tech and home lab videos. Do stay safe out there, keep on home labbing, and I will see you in the next video.